Happy good morning. It's Sunday. I love Sundays. I am establishing a new habit in my life, walking every day. My sister Kathy was doing that when I was up in Michigan. I took a couple walks with her, and I thought, you know what? I just need to keep rolling and not stop. So I'm walking every morning. I'm trying to make sure that I walk before 9 o'clock. If possible, before 8, because I just do better if I start the day out that way. And I just wanted to read something because there's so much blessing in obedience. And I think we miss it. We really miss it when we don't obey God. And every time I have not obeyed God, because I'm trying to weigh it out in my head, whether it's actually Him, how is this connected to the things that I'm asking Him for? Kind of thing, like, will this produce that? That's not in my wheelhouse. That's all for him, like he was trying to tell me all this time. You don't know what's connected to your obedience. You think one thing, I see another, and I'm directing you. I'm testing your obedience. I want to bless you. I can't bless you on the path that goes away from obedience. We're not going to run into the same things. We're not going to encounter the same people or situations, or have that inspiration that comes from above when we're going away from what God is having us to do, whether it appears to be related to what we need in our life and are asking Him for it or not. It's kind of like kids. It's like, some kids, they just obey because, they don't want the pain level, to increase, and they're just, of a more obedient spirit. My sister Kathy was very much that way, the one who's walking. You know what I mean? She was always the good girl, and I was always the one pushing the envelope, pushing the limits. And I've had the fruit of that in my life, quite honestly. I am an experiential learner. It is how I'm made, in my defense. But God is expecting obedience no matter how He made you. And when I do, I get blessed. So I just wanted to read something that came to me as I was praying and asking God, what? I said, this is what I was praying. Abba, this world is changing so rapidly. I want my children in heaven with me. I don't want them to be left behind, because I believe I'm with the group of believers who believe that the rapture of the church is imminent. Now, I'm in good company. The apostles thought that the rapture of the church was imminent too. We're that much closer. And I will put a little explanation video up for anyone who wants to watch it, that I thought was excellent at explaining what the 70 weeks in Daniel, factors out to be in Earth years. It's pretty fascinating, and it's pretty compelling. But I want my kids with me in heaven, whether we leave here in a rapture or whether, we're here until the end of our natural life. I want my children in heaven, and I'm praying for their salvation. And I don't know how they stand with God, because of their questioning time right now. And I understand that time. I went through that time myself. So my reading was 1 Peter 2:11, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. So I asked God, I said, Father, help me become sensitive to the fleshly lusts that war against my soul, that are taking me down and taking me away from His plan. So this is what He said to me. Diane, wife of Dan, be submissive to your own husband, that even if he at times does not obey my word, he, without a word, will you obey this word? That you, without a word, may be won by your good conduct, observing your chaste conduct accompanied by fear of the Lord. Submit to me regarding this change, which He's been telling me for a long time. Take a walk. every day, every day, every day, every day, take a walk. That was the first step, and I can't say that I have obeyed that. I've obeyed it in spurts, I've obeyed it occasionally, but I have not obeyed it in a sustained manner, and that is disobedience. Submit to me regarding this change, and I will change your heart to be more like mine. I gave my body over to the harsh treatment of men in submission to Abba. Think about that. Jesus, the sinless one, submitted his body to evil men who beat and tormented him severely and then crucified him. The Lord of glory, who could have called legions of angels to stop the whole process, submitted his body because he was submitted to his Father. So why can I not just take a walk? He humbled me with that. He didn't shame me. I'm not ashamed. That's the thing about when the Holy Spirit convicts your soul, it is not about shaming you. It is about helping you. And so you don't feel shame. You feel humbled. You feel like you want to submit. And this long suffering of God over this single issue in my life proves so much his love and mercy and grace for me. But he does not relent. He does not stop. He's drawing us into his will constantly. And if we'll respond to that pressure, we will see where he's taking us. When we're not, we get confused. We go away from him. We go into the dark, in a manner of speaking. Not entirely into the dark. I had fellowship with him. I was praying and seeing answers to prayer. He is so kind. But I was not realizing the full blessing and not living up to the fullness of what he had for me because of that. And I believe I will begin to see it more and more. Why he just wanted obedience in this area. So, in this way, buffet your body. Cleanse the temple. Temper your lusts. Give yourself entirely to this. Incorruptible beauty equals a gentle and quiet spirit. Believe me, your kids will notice a difference, and eventually so will Dan. So he told me this, I don't know, it was like the 2nd of October. It was a month ago. And here I am, finally submitting to God, submitting to that gentle pressure. Also, my chubby body is giving me trouble. I know I'm kind of at the end of that leash. It's like, stop. It's time. So I am. And I was really heartened by my time with my family. I needed that building up to remember who I am. When I watched my 86-year-old dad out there working on his yard, and he's out there, picking up leaves and moving around like he does. He's 86 years old, and he has COPD. It's not easy for him to do all that, but he's got it in him. I'm seeing my mom rally from, some pretty serious health problems, just plugging along and doing what she's supposed to do and taking good care of herself. And because of that, she did rally, from 2 hospital stays within a week. And she's, because she's doing what she can do and doing what she's being told by her doctor to do, she's coming back and she's getting some strength back, and she's 84. So I'm like, or 83. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this. If I got your age wrong, I'm sorry. She looks 76. So I know what I have in me, because I was watching my DNA. It helped. It helped being in the ebb and flow of family life. We need that too. And I'm going to church this morning because I need that. I need to be with my church family and worship God with others who love him so much and are so appreciative of who He is and what He's done in their lives and continues to do. It's good to be with the family of God. It's good to have a grateful heart. And it's good to obey God. And whatever it is that He's having you to do, whatever pressure you're feeling on the inside to do, that is good. That is good and will improve your life. It will improve your communication with God. You will hear things from Him that you never would have heard if you weren't walking in that path of obedience. And you have no idea what He has for you while you're walking on that path of obedience. You can't weigh that out. Just do it. There's, one day I was driving to Rhema, and my class is at Rhema, and I thought I'll just go over here to this bagel place I loved going to, and I'll read my Bible, and I'll have a bagel and coffee, and I'll go to second hour instead of first hour. And you know what he said to me? I heard him on the inside. He said, "You'll never know what you missed." And I'm like, oh, am I going to miss something if I don't go to class? He said, "You'll never know if you don't go." I was like, But it was a life lesson, because you'll never know unless you go where He tells you to go. You'll never know how good it could have been if you don't do things the way He wants them done. Okay? That covers so many things. And whatever thing it is that you're struggling with right now, if you'll submit to God and resist your flesh and the devil, you will see the goodness of God manifest in your life in ways that you never would have seen, and you'll never know until you do. That's good enticement to obey God. If you be good, if you be willing and obedient, you will eat the good of the land. Joshua. I believe that's 1:8. It's true all the way through, and for us too. Have a blessed Sunday.